What if you already eat nutritious foods and hardly to non-processed foods? You don't smoke, don't drink alcohol, but still your digestive issues do not disappear? Watch this video and I will explain 6 types of food that can give digestive issues. Let's start with grains and gluten. Bread, cereal, bagels, cookies, pasta, pizza. Never in history have we eaten so much wheat as we do now. Our bodies receive wheat every single day, from cereal for breakfast to bread for lunch to pasta for dinner, and now and then a cookie during our break. Why is wheat used for so many products? One reason is gluten. Gluten is a protein found in barley, rye, oats, wheat and spelt. You can remember it with the acronym BROWS. Gluten comes from the Latin word for glue, because it acts like glue, holding the food together and making it elastic and fluffy. Gluten is the first suspect for people with vague complaints that do not go away, like bloating, skin rash, abdominal pain, depression, joint or muscle pain, and tiredness. Let's explain how gluten acts in your body. These are intestinal cells that are connected by some sort of sliding doors called tight junctions. Normally these sliding doors are closed and nutrients are absorbed into the bloodstream via the cell. Now gluten triggers a substance that opens these sliding doors. When eating gluten every day, you constantly trigger your tight junctions to open, eventually causing a leaky gut. As a result, unwanted substances can enter the body. For example, toxins, undigested protein and bacterial residues. As unwanted substances enter the body, the immune system is activated to attack and an inflammatory reaction occurs. It is suspected that a leaky gut is also one of the main causes of sensitivities and allergies. If you suspect that gluten may be the problem, first do this quiz before taking it out of your diet. There are people who have celiac disease, which is an autoimmune disease against gluten. You just want to rule that out first before starting with a gluten-free diet, because you need to still eat gluten to detect whether you have celiac disease. If you do not have celiac disease, you can still be gluten sensitive. In order to find out if you are sensitive to gluten, you could take gluten out of your diet for 2 weeks and see if you feel any better. Gluten sensitivity is normally not tested at your general practitioner, so this is the best way to find out yourself. If you want to know more about grains and gluten, check out the PDFs of this week. The second is dairy. There are different ways in which one can react to milk and dairy. You could either have a lactose intolerance, which means you cannot fully digest the sugar called lactose in milk and dairy, because you do not make enough of the enzyme lactase to break down the lactose in small pieces. Or you could have a cow's milk protein allergy. In this case, the body makes antibodies against protein in cow's milk. The fastest way to find out whether you react to these is to eliminate all dairy from your food for a period of 2 weeks and see what it does for you. In the PDF called Checklists, you will find what foods contain lactose and what foods contain cow's milk protein. Number 3 is soy. As more and more people are eating vegetarian or vegan, we consume much more soy nowadays. Soy milk instead of normal milk, soy-based meat substitutes, vegan ice cream based on soy, and soy yogurt. Traditionally, this is not the way soy was used. In various Asian cultures, soy was eaten in fermented form and in small amounts. Now we eat it in unfermented form and in large amounts. Unfermented soy contains a number of anti-nutrients, like phytic acid, that can inhibit nutrient absorption, and trypsin inhibitors that block protein absorption, which can give problems when eaten in large amounts. When fermenting soy, these so-called anti-nutrients are largely reduced, making it easier to digest. Fermented soy also contains high amounts of vitamin K2 and serves as a probiotic for our gut. So, fermented soy in small amounts can have benefits, whereas unfermented soy in large amounts can cause problems. Check your soy intake, and if you think this might cause your problems, eliminate it for 2 weeks and see if you feel better. The next one is coffee. Coffee can give symptoms for people who suffer from thin stool, stomach pain, constipation, and drink a lot of coffee every day. Coffee is a laxative. It overstimulates the intestinal wall muscles. Too much coffee could be one of the simple causes of diarrhea and thin stool, but it can also cause constipation. Some people can only go to the toilet after they drank coffee. If you drink coffee a few times a day, every day, your intestinal wall muscles can get lazy and you may be able to only poo after you had coffee. In order to check whether coffee is your main problem for thin stool, stomach pain or constipation, cut it out for 2 weeks and see what it does for you. Let's continue with eggs, more specifically chicken eggs. Eggs are extremely healthy, but unfortunately many people react to them. You could have an allergic reaction to either the egg yolk, the egg white, specific protein in the egg white, or the whole egg. In case of an allergy, your immune system makes antibodies against protein in the egg. Another possibility is an egg intolerance. In this case, you are unable to properly digest the protein in egg due to a shortage of digestive enzymes or gastric acid. The latter often results in soft, smelly farts that you hardly hear but smell terrible, thin stool and/or stomach pain. When you think eggs may be the problem, follow the egg protocol in the PDF of this week, starting by eliminating eggs and egg products for 2 weeks. Last but not least, nuts and peanuts. Organic, unprocessed nuts are super healthy. Unfortunately, not everyone can tolerate them equally well. The protein in nuts and peanuts are one of the strongest allergens there are. Let's clarify 3 ways in which you can react to nuts and peanuts. The first is an allergic reaction to the protein in nuts and peanuts. The second is an intolerance to nuts and peanuts, a shortage of enzymes or gastric acid to properly digest the nuts. The latter is a reaction to the way the nuts are processed. This you can easily overcome by not eating nuts that look moldy, shriveled or discolored, and store nuts well sealed, dry and in a cool and dark place. In this way you can avoid the formation of mold, but also the rapid decomposition of fat, which can make nuts rancid. To find out whether nuts or peanuts give you digestive issues, remove them from your diet for 2 weeks and see how you feel. Let's recap. We talked about the 6 foods that can give digestive issues to some people. Grains and gluten, dairy, soy, coffee, eggs, and nuts and peanuts. Use the food diary from week 3 or one of the food diary apps to see if you can find a link between your diet and your symptoms. If you want to know more about the difference between sensitivities, intolerances, and allergies, check out the PDF of this week. At this point, it is important to follow your own pace. Everybody is different and everybody is at a different stage in their process. Your challenge may be to stop smoking or find out the difference between nutritious and processed foods. This may be the first time you heard about gluten, or you may have the feeling that you eat very healthily and your challenge is to check how life is without grains and dairy. Find your challenge and go for it. If you start cutting out processed foods, sugar, grains, gluten and dairy from your diet, don't be surprised to have withdrawal symptoms and cravings. It is all part of the process. In the long term, it will do much good and you will feel much happier and healthier.